Okay, Justin, welcome to the recorded portion of our call. For people that are watching, I'd love to have them get to know who you are a little bit better, but really like kind of the transformation. Because so I haven't even asked you yet. I'm curious like where you guys are now. Because last update that I got from you guys, and we'll explain to you guys in a second. At launch, I believe you had 23 new clients for your new offer that we helped you guys develop. And I think if I got my numbers right, for annualized revenue, that's something like over $18,000 of annualized revenue for that portion, that amount of like new revenue created
Yeah.
on one launch. So first of all, did I get all my math right there? Is
Yeah,
that correct?
you did.
And
Yeah, that's
what's the
perfect.
number now? Is it
Yeah,
still has it crept up anymore, or are
it
you guys
is. As of yesterday, I think it's up to 27.
27? Jeez.
27. And that's, we're just over a month into the program. So,
Man, that's awesome. Cool. All right. So let's rewind a little bit. We'll unpack all that and I'll break my calculator out to actually figure out what that math is. But first of all, so you, I believe, are our only to date husband and wife duo that has entered our program. So unpack that. Tell the people that are watching, listening, like who you guys are and what you guys do, and we'll take it from there.
yeah, definitely. So, I'm one half of Price of Avocado Toast. We are a podcast and a financial coaching business that my wife and I started in the midst of the pandemic. In the middle of 2020, when we were just going through our own debt free journey, we started our podcast hoping to kind of help the younger versions of us. And it took off. About a year later, she decided, hey, I think I'm going to try this financial coaching thing to help others budget, learn to pay off debt, and actually spend on things they love. And the business started to take off. So since 2021, she's been one-to-one coaching folks on their money and their behaviors and habits around it. And she pulled me into the business in February of 2023. That's when I started coaching with her as well. And we've been doing it now full time for, her a little over 3 years, me about a year and a half. Yeah. And so that's what we do. We're one-to-one financial coaches. But really the reason that we, wanted to start working with you was we realized that we had a significant time bottleneck in our business. There was only so much time in the day that we could take one-to-one clients. And while we love taking one-to-one clients, we love being teachers and we feel like we have this kind of servant heart. We were realizing that we just didn't have enough time in the day for all of it to be effective and to be the type of coaches we wanted to be. And we realized we needed to build another offer for folks that cleaned up that time management issue a little bit.
There's a lot there. So
Yeah.
let's try to, I want to try to break that down a little bit for people who maybe, are new to us and what we do, or new to this space, or, just simplest terms. So first of all, you guys came in with a niche already because your wife had started this business in, was it 21? Is that
21, yeah.
21? And you joined full time 2 years later, so in
Mhm.
23. And I believe that we met around basically a year later.
Yeah.
So we were about 1 year into the business. And I think that was actually originally part of, the two of your goals as well was, we want to make sure that you can both stay full time in this business.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you were starting from zero, but it also wasn't like reached every height and every goal that you kind of set out. You were so uh, the niche was already there in terms of like your target audience, that the avatar is what we call it. But that doesn't just automatically mean that you have here that you have an offer and you have a program or everything. It doesn't just mean everything appears already.
Yeah.
Uh, and so you guys came in with that, but in terms of what was, you mentioned the time bottleneck. I'm curious though, like in terms of, do you mind sharing some other kind of like some milestones maybe we can kind of hang our hat on? Like what was your maybe monthly revenue, and like what was the structure? I think you mentioned one to one, but any other details of like before you joined the program?
Yeah, we were fluctuating, or we've kind of been fluctuating right around $10,000 a month for one-to-one coaching as the business itself. And that generally stays right around there, depending when a client finishes our program and when a new client comes on. And we're actually criminally bad at even marketing our one-to-one offer. That's another thing we need to get significantly better at. But that's kind of about where we were as far as like what that offer kind of looked like. Again, like you said, like our goal was to mainly just keep me doing it alongside my wife full time. We've got 3 young kids, and we wanted to make sure that we could continue to be home with them and continue to spend time with them. So again, we kind of realized like something had to change because the one-to-one structure, the way that it was working was my wife was actually working most afternoons. She coaches from like 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. in the evenings, Monday through Thursday. And then we were also taking Sunday clients. So there wasn't a lot of family time. And this past year was when our eldest child started school. And so it really got to be like, okay, wait a minute. Mom's not going to have any time with her because she'll be in school all day. She'll get home and mom's going to start working then. So that's what really, yeah, kind of prompted our discussions on like something's got to change.
So it kind of sounds like you guys were maxed out, or at least that was the feeling.
Yeah.
Like,
Riley, can I pause for 1 sec?
yeah.
Our daughter just locked Haley in the bathroom. I just got to multiple
Speedy
check like,
bump.
hey, she
Yeah,
locked me in. Yeah, hang on.
go for it. So brief interruption brought to you by parenting 3 small
Yeah.
children.
Yeah, exactly.
um, so okay, so you guys were maxed out was the feeling, both time, but it also sounds kind of like energy as well, like just bandwidth.
Totally.
I mean, you guys are parents, you were former teachers, you're like there's just
Yeah,
sounds like there's no more slices of the pie to kind of to give away.
totally. Totally.
So that's sort of the big, and then you, so debottlenecking, increasing revenue to like make the business sustainable so that you can stay in
Mhm.
it. You guys, all the family things that are connected to that. I think a lot of people would resonate with that. But in terms of then, okay, so joining the program, first of all, what made you decide to actually like pull the trigger on, we there's a lot of options out there. There's like the low ticket small communities, there's one-to-one coaches or just a single coach, or like there's a whole range out there. So
Yeah.
what was it about us or me at that point as well, because we were the ones having the conversation that made you decide to like this is the program for me or us
Yeah.
going to move forward?
Totally. Great question. We had actually tried to find what the next space of our business was going to look like. We had tried a really low ticket kind of group offer at one point that we put no marketing into, kind of just threw it up on Instagram, and it had a few bites, but it wasn't serving in the way that Haley and I wanted to. So we scrapped it. And then we were like, hey, we really want to do a group thing. So we tried a couples group thing as like a beta program. It was a lot of fun for 6 weeks, but then we realized, hey, that doesn't quite do it for us either. Like, we need to figure out what this looks like. And we were finding that we were struggling to really build that idea by ourselves because we don't have a background in marketing and sales and building programs. We're really good teachers. Once I know like what is the content I need to teach, I've got that locked down. But
Yeah.
finding what people need, finding the offer people are craving was something we were struggling with.
Yeah, so you guys are experts in your domain, but
Totally.
in terms of creating the offer, the positioning, the messaging, that you feel comfortable delivering, and
Mm-hmm.
that also helps to accomplish and is in alignment with your business goals, but the one that clicks with the market and
Totally.
a specific segment of the market, so that we can actually rinse repeat. So it's a repeatable, scalable offer, not just
Totally.
one-to-one coaching that we're bespoking for every single person. Uh,
Exactly.
okay, so that's what we did.
Yeah.
So let's talk through that, because I think also coming in, sometimes people, especially like coaches, I find that there's this one-to-one bias, I'll say, where that's like our happy place. That's where we started. It makes total sense. And some people just want to start and stay there. And for me, there's no judgment either way. And I think just to demonstrate that, you guys came in without us necessarily predetermining what your offer was going to actually wind up being, right? So that
Yeah.
was part of the process. So can you kind of pick up there and talk through, like, from entering to finishing, what were the kind of the highlights or the most valuable pieces, of the program, or kind of milestones that you remember hitting?
Yeah. Well, I will say I want to go back for a second, just tell you kind of what helped us land working with you and really
Yeah.
got us bought in. And that was as wild as it is, it was the graphic of the roadmap for
Hmm.
like what our journey was going to look like through working with you all. I could really see exactly how each stage was going to help us and how we were going to be able to narrow things down to exactly what we wanted it to be at each spot. And I didn't have a background, in any of this prior to that. So having it so clear and almost scaffolded was a lot like a teacher. And it felt really comforting and welcoming. And so to go to the point of like what were some of the, places we found success on that, one of the biggest things was the authentic outreach. Understanding that people want authenticity is generally accepted. I think we all recognize people want authenticity in our conversations, and we usually have that BS meter where we can feel when people are not being authentic, right? But having somebody walk through a process of, hey, this is what authentic outreach can look like. It doesn't feel salesy. It doesn't feel uncomfortable. It feels like you're a natural human finding out what somebody needs. And if what they need is something that you do well, you are allowed, and I would say required, to tell them, hey, I have a solution that might help. And I'd love to share more with you about that. And so that was a huge part of the process, was actually understanding that authentic outreach and then working into those market research calls. It was so beneficial to get on a call with somebody and hit record and get the actual language they used and be
Yeah.
able to look at it and say, oh, that's what they're looking for. And here's how they describe it. So I don't even have to come up with the content. I don't have to build a social media calendar for it all. I don't have to find out the sales psychology of what they need because they just told me. They told me exactly what their pain points are, what the goals and desires they have are, and what's holding them back from getting there. And it was like, okay, so there it all is. Now what are we going to do with it, right?
Yeah.
And so it felt like we got so much data from the front end that there was no way that we couldn't build the exact offer people are looking for to then push it out into the space and continue to let it breathe and scale.
Yep, that's pretty much the process.
Yeah.
And I just want to highlight that I think one thing, yeah, that you guys did really well, and that people in our program, and we kind of listen for this as well, is like when it comes to, ego, I think some people are very attached to, I want to do my thing my way. And, we like to work with service oriented, heart centered, impact driven people. And you guys 100% are that all the way. And I think that shows just even in listening to what you just shared, in that you're not attached. And that's part of the, you're not attached to a specific path. It was just, well, we're going to listen and we're going to serve based on what people are telling us. And
Yeah.
that's really part of the spirit that, and so actually part of what I'm hearing too is that there's, I don't know if you said this word specifically, I don't think I heard you say this, but it sounded a little bit like there's sort of a mental or mindset shift or reframe that happened as well. And I wonder if there's any, because we also have specific modules inside, given my background on that topic as well. Was there anything in that kind of area that specifically stood out to you that was most helpful, or is it kind of just sort of encapsulated by what you just shared?
That's a great question. I would say, thinking of it off the top of my head, I'm not sure if there's anything in particular that stands out immediately, but I'm sure that, opening up with talking about scarcity and abundance is a great start, right? And I know that that certainly helped us look at what building the offer would look like and how it can scale and how it can grow, and also feeling empowered by it. And it's so funny because our offer is now called the Empowered Money Academy.
Hmm.
And I think for us as well, we're feeling empowered by the offer. We know that what we do helps people, and it feels, it's just a blase word, but it feels okay and good to build that offer and put it out into the world. And so I'm sure that there's definitely some, interior mindset work that came along through that original first module as well that maybe doesn't, immediately come to mind like the authentic outreach, but that certainly helped in those ways of having those conversations and feeling comfortable talking to people because we know that what we do can help them.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I think it's just the concept, and it clearly you guys, adopting that, and it landed for you, because I remember early, I think you'd been in for 2 days or something like that. And there was a post where you're like, what is this wizardry? You guys
Yeah.
landed like two clients
Yeah.
just like that. And clearly I mean, you hadn't even really gotten into it yet. It wasn't like you developed a new offer in 2 days. But there's something to say when it comes to sales, when it comes to the psychology, really we're dealing with humans. And so if we change our psychology, it also helps us to it would make sense then that we're then not reacting, but we're responding or engaging differently with, the buyer's psychology as well.
Totally.
So appreciate you sharing that. And I guess to kind of like fast forward to, because you talked through, again, we talked about the niche, we talked about the structure that was there, the market research calls. Funny, we're about to implement some more AI stuff to make it
Mm.
even easier. You made it sound pretty seamless right there, but
Yeah.
I'll have to show it to you off call another time because it's incredible. But we go through this whole process together. You guys are still living your life. I'm actually one thing I'm really curious about because you talked about how maxed out before you were, but then also you somehow made time to do all this stuff of working on your business. Can you just explain that a little bit of like help someone listening maybe like wrap their head around like, well, if I already am maxed out on time, then how does that make sense?
Yeah. It might be because we're money coaches and so we work with money so consistently. But for both Haley and I, as former teachers, and now what we do, when we invest in something, it becomes a priority for us. And so we were going to the gym every single morning. I would hop on the treadmill and get like a hike in. So I just ramp up the elevation, turn up to like, 3 miles an hour and watch a Riley video. And just rock out with my AirPods on and like watch an actual video and learn something that I wasn't aware of. And so it really is just carving out the time for something if you value it and you prioritize it. And there were certainly other things in our life that we had to put a pause on. And we had to say, okay, that's maybe not a priority right now. But we believed that investing in ourselves is always going to pay dividends. We are firm believers in that return on investment. And so it was a no-brainer for us. Like, okay, if we're jumping in, then we're jumping in and we're going to prioritize the learning and the education that we need here to take this thing to the next level.
So speaking of return on investment, you said you guys are averaging, and this is a husband-wife business, maybe like hovering up and down around 10K a month. You launched your new offer, and I believe so you landed on the group offer, got to the finish line, had a launch, and you got 27 new signups in what was it was like 23 in a week, I believe it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
And in the next some stragglers over the next 2-3 weeks, something like that.
Yeah. It was 23 from the initial digital masterclass launch. So we hosted a webinar and we're ready to just provide a ton of value. And then right at the end, we had a pretty significant sales pitch saying, hey, we're launching this thing, Empowered Money Academy, into the world. We want you to be one of the first people to join. Here's this link. If you choose to do this, you're going to get locked in at this rate for life. And if this, program raises rates, which it's going to, you won't raise along with it. You'll stay at this rate. And so we got 23 people almost immediately. And then over the past month, with zero marketing behind it, we've had another 4 come in. We're going to do another masterclass in November here to share it again at the now changed rate that it's at. And over time, we'll continue to kind of rinse and repeat that same structure of like, here's the masterclass providing a ton of value. And if you like this value, there's even more inside of this academy thing.
It's incredible. And so at the price point you guys are at, because I believe you split it up monthly to like break it down, and you're also dealing with helping people get out of debt, which makes sense. So if my math's right here, if we annualized that monthly, so it was like the actual value of being, in your program for a year, it's after one launch, I think it's just over 21,000. Is that correct?
Just about. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Of new
Annualized. Yeah.
revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible.
That's pretty cool.
It's
So
very cool.
if you raise the price and even if you had less people and it was the same amount, if you did that every month, it seems like that And you're still doing one-to-one coaching as well, right?
We are, and this is the benefit is creating this new offer has allowed us to raise rates on our one-to-one because
Hmm.
said, hey, like there's this other offer if you're feeling like you need some support in a, kind of low stakes way. But if you really want to get like the juice, if you really want the good stuff, it's over here. And we're able to raise those rates. And we're actually really proud to raise those rates because we know, again, what we do works. And it's been awesome. It's just been a
Yeah.
great change.
Don't you have a stat just to, if I could like, applaud you guys a little bit of like how much debt your clients have paid off? That's like the main measurable, right?
Yeah, totally. So at last check, I mean, it was maybe a month ago, we were at 2.8 million of debt paid off among
Okay.
our clients. The
Yeah.
average client pays off $20,000 in 6 months, and that is 6 times the cost of our program altogether.
Seems like a good
Yeah,
ROI.
pretty darn good.
And that I just think that's the coolest thing about business and why we do what we do is that, you know, you guys invest candidly a lot of money, always subjective, depends who you ask, but
Yeah.
into us, but really into yourselves. And that's with the prioritizing the time investment, not
Hmm.
just the financial resource, but it's you, it's investing in yourself. And
Yeah.
so you guys got an ROI on that investment. And now you're able to give other people an ROI on their investment into you and them. So, and it just, and we can, who knows where it goes from there,
Yeah.
that ripple effect. That's pretty cool. And so do you mind sharing then, like, what did you have that seems like a potential, again, I know we were talking about analyzed revenue, but did you potentially have a record month in October? I know we're talking about
Oh, that's
the
a
11
great
months stacked
question.
up.
Yeah, that's a great question. And
Might
we
not know
did.
off the top of your head.
Yeah, we did. It was a record month for us. It was awesome. My goal is to hopefully beat it in January of 2025 because of this launch, we had a lot of people who are excited about the Empowered Money Academy, but they've also found our one-to-one program really enticing. And so it's kind of this other byproduct of like, oh, that was really cool what you guys shared, but I liked so much what you did. I want to consider working one-to-one with you. So in the month of November, actually within the next 2 weeks, I have 4 sales calls for our one-to-one program. So January or even December, if they choose to, get started immediately, it could be, another kind of record breaker for us.
Awesome. Do you mind sharing what the record is? Are you able to? I don't know if you
No,
know that.
yeah, I think it was last we checked. I think we actually checked about last week as we were tightening some things up. It was around 14.5.
14. Okay. So you
Yeah,
got a 50% bump in the first month of launching your first of this new offer, which is
yeah,
something you can repeat every single month. I don't know if you really got to spend much time with Rob. He just told me the other day he got another 25, basically another 50% bump on his revenue. And so
awesome.
it would make sense that you could continually stack
Yeah.
having another record month in November and another after, like, it seems like that's a pretty plausible thing for the next 12 months.
Totally. It's pretty exciting for us. We're pretty
Yeah,
thrilled with how things are going.
that's so cool. We'll have to have this conversation again in 12 months and see
Totally.
what
Totally.
the month is there. So I'm conscious of time. It's just so cool. I'm just like, I just love hearing all the different things. And I know that there's so much more, left to go. Like you're still client, like it's still early. It's not like you guys are like cross the finish line, check the box, we're all done. This is
Yeah.
really just the beginning. So with that in mind, like what's next? Like what's next for Price of Avocado Toast?
Yeah, our goal is to really continue honing in on the messaging of the Empowered Money Academy and the kind of social proof marketing behind it. Now that we're a month in, we're getting incredible feedback. Actually, I should tell you, we had our group call yesterday morning, and both Haley and I were on the call. So I was able to go into a breakout room with somebody who needed some one-to-one coaching. We go into there and I asked them, how's it going? What can I help you guys with today? And they said, actually, we're only a month into this thing, but we've paid off $6,000 of credit card debt, and I think we're ready to finally buy that house. And I said, wait, wait, what? What? And they said, yeah, we've had some money in savings. The first 3 modules have already helped us tackle some of our limiting beliefs around money, and we are ready to take this next step. And I said, okay, well, let's do the math on this really quick. And the math checks out even better than I thought they were going to share with me. It's almost like a no-brainer for them and their family, and they were feeling so good about making the decision. It was like, just a
Cool.
month in, and somebody's already giving us this feedback. It was incredible. We've had other people share, they've had conversations with their partner that they haven't had in years, And it's, again, just a month in to giving them access to this content and giving them guided support through some group calls and an engaged community. And it's just been great. It's awesome. So our goal is to just continue to get that social proof up and share that message with other folks who might potentially need it, because we're excited for where this thing's going.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, and I got goosebumps just hearing it. But it's I think it's really that all of that is just credit to you guys and doing the
Thank
work
you.
that you're doing, and I just feel privileged to be in the position to lift people like you up. And I'm curious, because obviously, as you know, all the different coaches and consultants that we work with, we have a whole range of niches of different industries and market sizes. And I guess from that perspective, because I don't think we've had another financial coach to date at this point that's been in the program, but if someone was watching this and they're on the fence about either they've talked to us and they're still deciding, or they're even deciding that, like, oh, should I even book that first call,
Yeah.
get some strategy, what would you like if you had to rewind in your head back to when you were in that moment and you were coaching yourself, and you kind of think of someone else being in that moment?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to that person?
Great question. The first thing I would tell them is that when you become a business owner, or if you're a coach of some kind, as like a secondary thing that you want to grow to a bigger capacity, you have to take risks and you have to invest in yourself to get to that space. You can certainly, go watch YouTube videos or read all of the marketing psychology and offer building books in the world, but they're not going to give you the human to human tangible takeaways that you're going to get investing in yourself in this program. That's the first thing I would tell them is, you know, understand that you have to take some risks as an entrepreneur to get to where you want to be. And the second thing that I would tell them is I would kind of nudge them a little bit and say, what does a year look like for you? Or what does the next year look like for you if you do take this leap? And what does it look like if you don't? Like, where are you going to stay if you don't make this change or make this choice and try to expand or try something new? Because for me, it was very much so like, if we don't invest in this learning, invest in the support and the coaching to get where we want to go, then we're going to stay where we're at. And some people might be okay with where they're at. But if you have goals of getting to somewhere else, having a coach or a mentor or a program to help get you there is great. It's going to give you the tools and it's going to give you the guidance to be successful. And so look at what you want the next year to look like. Do we want it to look down path A, or do we want it to look down path B? And for us, it was clear, like, we're trying to get somewhere and we got to take that jump.
Yeah, bring kind of full circle back to the roadmap, right? Like, it's like
Yeah.
here's the roadmap. This is
Yeah.
and it kind of, I might be biased, but I kind of feel like the path is the path. Like, you got to do the work no matter what. Which
Totally.
path are you? Yeah, where are you more likely to succeed or actually do the work?
Totally.
You haven't been doing it to date. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
just I'll leave you on that cliffhanger for anyone that's
Totally.
watching. But hey, thanks for taking the time, Justin. I appreciate you sharing your story and all your awesome updates and the incredible work you guys are doing. Just in case someone is watching or listening and they're like, oh, this is, maybe I'm in debt, or maybe I don't, I could use a financial coach. Where can people check you out if they want to
Yeah.
find you?
Totally. They can find us on all major social medias at Price of Avocado Toast. We also have a podcast that is, free resource for anybody who needs support on their journey. That comes out every Wednesday morning wherever you listen to podcasts. And then we've got our website, priceofavocadotoast.com, where we have all the goodies and freebies, coaching support, access to Empowered Money Academy, all the good stuff there.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thanks, Riley. Appreciate you.